When I came into this role in early 2013, we had to look at how do we scale this cloud from something that could be starting out very small to something that could scale very quickly. So as we brought up second, third, fourth site, how do we continuously provide access into those hosts? To me, security is paramount. Anything I do has to be secure. Especially at Netskope, since we're a SOC organization and have all these certifications, we have to ensure access into these devices is secure, that it's authenticated, authorized, and recorded. And so when looking at Vistara, the number one thing I saw was how they authenticate users and the auditing methods. And to me, this was paramount. First, I have secure access into all my hosts. I don't have to have an open VPN or worry about clients, things like this, connecting in and into the host. Each host has secure access back and forth to it through Vistara. Every user that's accessing it is accessing through the portal with a secure authenticated token, which is using YubiKey. Once they log into that host, every action is recorded, audited, and then kept for as long as we need to ensure that auditing. So right there, any modification in my environment is known. There's no secrets. And how we have access into it is extremely secure. I don't have to have a VPN. I don't have to have a backdoor. All access has been monitored. And it's great because we can limit everything that happens at that host, and then we can replay everything from the very history of that host's creation to the last day that host is online, and then even after it's online, all the things that happen with it. So this was number one with Vistara. Secondly, let's even talk about the next part with Vistara, the individual inventory management of the systems, performance management, monitoring, the ability to control patch management, all of these other components to the system. So the security piece sold me alone, but then once we talk about all these other value adds, again, it solved my problem. What does the CPU look like? How do I get an alert out of it if this threshold happens? How can I go ahead and build a template around this type of host and manage it? Does it have, Apache, Nginx, I can build a whole series of components that are managed and monitored, applied as a template to each host. So as I'm onboarding hosts, they're automatically applied with these templates. And then lastly, virtualization is no secret that it's the road to having an efficient operational environment. And what I really love with Vistara is that I don't have to worry about I'm using vCenter, I'm using Zen, I'm using OpenStack. I can use the tools I need, and I don't have to have the vendor dictate to me what I have to use. I choose. Vistara makes it happen and come together in a single pane of glass. And that's something to me, it's like I don't want to have to fight with the vendor for me to tell them what I want. I am the customer. I'm here to pay. You're here to provide. And Vistara doesn't have that as an argument. To me, it's a handshake. We sit on the same side of the table. There's no arguments. So to run a DevOps network or run a DevOps environment, you need a framework of tools to be able to enable you to manage and monitor things. So there are a lot of legacy type of applications where we have, just huge deployments, a lot of effort to put them together. Now, one of the challenges is as you're deploying different services, you're going to assume, with these types of management applications, you're going to have a few assumptions. One is everything's on premises, everything's behind a secure firewall or some segregated network where nobody has access to it. So you can turn on SNMP public, it doesn't really matter. And then everything that you manage and monitor is going to be an asset owned by you. Now, that game has changed. I can use a hybrid environment where I can use some AWS, some Microsoft, Azure, some of the Rackspace, different components. I can also have my own internal. I could have Zen, I can have VMware, I can have all these different tools. I can also have bare metal servers. So how do I aggregate management for that and also local services? This is a real tough challenge. So this is where a tool like Vistara has come into Netskope organization, and it's enabled us to better use all of the resources, no matter where they are, how they're being used, as one pane of glass. So what's nice with Vistara is as we've gone ahead and our business has changed, again, we're only a year plus into this, but our business has changed rapidly and our needs have changed. Vistara has worked with us. We go to them and ask them for the components we need or the changes that we need in our stack from Vistara, and they're able to help modify that. What's important is that with Vistara is able to not only do and manage my needs today, but evolve with me over time. Because I think of a vendor or as a partner. I don't want to go and buy a product, walk away and complain and say, oh, I hate this thing, it doesn't work for me, whatever. When you invest with a company should invest back with you and build the product to help you. When you approach solving problems in an IT infrastructure from a DevOps point of view, what you're doing is you're really engaging in what I call a transient versus persistent model of systems. Once we bring up a host, how do we manage the life cycle of that transient host? That's where every time we install a host, first thing we do is we install Vistara. of course, after we bring up the networking. We bring up Vistara, it connects into the cloud. Instantly, it notifies me that it's online, and then from here, now it's monitored, managed, and I can do everything I need to do with that host. So it's also in my inventory. I can identify when it's come up, when it's been brought down, and how it's been accessed. And so that's very important to me. Vistara helps me, my organization, my team, my business, it helps it grow because it allows me to focus on the things that are important to me in DevOps, and it allows me to eliminate the things that are important but are very tedious to deal with. Alerting, management, monitoring, templatization, servers onboarding, creating VMs, returning VMs, whatever it may be. I want all of those things to occur, and I want them to be easy, fast, auditable, and I don't want to have to build 3,000 Python scripts to do it. What I want to do is move towards what I call the zero ops role. Zero ops is the idea that things self-heal, it's very easy to deploy a service, and you're basically mitigating the amount of heavy lifting it takes to make something work. This is not the elimination of jobs, this is not the elimination of roles, or removing the importance of DevOps by any means. What it means is that when I want to use Vistara, I want to use it to reduce the amount of time it takes to get results from my customer. And that's what I expect to use going forward with it. I want to reduce the time it takes to turn up a service, to monitor that service, identify a failure, and the event of a failure, getting to the result of what that means. So I call this zero ops because I want to do as little as possible to get as much value out of it, no matter what it is. And what we've seen with Vistara is we've gone so far from just doing individual operations, looking at servers, and then looking at it as a service, and then looking at it as a holistic, not just a service for one individual component, but an entire cloud. So going forward, we want to do more automation around deployments. We want to do more automation around management for patch management. We want to do more automation around even managing Vistara itself. So using its API infrastructure, using all of the tools that it exists today, and all the great things that they come up with, we're excited to look at that. I think the future is very bright for us, what our IT operations look like in DevOps, in the lab, no matter what it is with Vistara, just what I've seen over the last year. And I just can't wait to see what's in the next year and the future.